chats with our members and stuff like that, right? Now, where's Jean-Luc?
He's coming.
He's outside trying to get in.
Hey, Jean-Luc, for these slides, how are we going to share them with our members? We're going to put a link or something on our website, or?
Hey Ben, we'll send out a link at some point to the people. So just as long as everyone's signed up to the meetup, we'll send out a post meetup link so people can get them.
Okay. So if you aren't signed up to the meetup page, please go ahead and do that, and then we'll have it up, and then you can take a watch. We're also recording this session here too, and you should be able to watch this video in the future if you need to. So let me bring up Jean-Luc. Come on up, Jean-Luc. And then I think you have a couple of words you want to say. So
yeah. So first of all, thank you very much, everyone, for coming today. And thank you, Nikola, for such a detailed presentation. Very informative. And we would like to offer you a gift card from Starbucks. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jean-Luc. I used to live in Busan for about 6 years, and I came up to Seoul last March. From March, I started attending the meetups on a very regular basis. And then in about October, Dan and Ben asked me if I wanted to join the team, because obviously I didn't have anything better to do with my time than to go to these meetups all the time. So yeah, I was very happy that they brought me on. And what I've been trying to do is to redevelop the website and also grow a social media presence too. So what I'd like to do for the moment is just to talk about that website, to talk about our social media presence, and then we'll move on to Jeff Yu, who's going to take a few questions about real estate. Okay, so if you just bear with me a few seconds. Ben, could you help me?
Yeah, sure.
So I'm not sure how Macs works, so I want to go to Google Drive.
So it'll be right here. Is that okay?
Yeah, or maybe Chrome is better. Or Chrome. Sure. Or, are you signed in? Yeah, maybe it's better.
Yeah. So you need to get to your Google.
Yeah, just go to Google. Yeah, keep it.
I was really impressed with some PowerPoint. I was impressed with Skype just working.
Yeah, I don't know.
No, delete button. Yeah. Okay, there we go. Right, okay, so just a quick introduction to our meetup, because I see there are lots of new faces here. So we are all about real estate, the Seoul Real Estate Investing Meetup. We're a community of global real estate investors and professionals based in South Korea. But we also have members here from Hong Kong. I think we've got, where's Alan? Oh yeah, Alan's at the back. He's from Hong Kong, and we've got investors from all over the place. Hi, Alan. From the US, from the UK, all over. Okay, so what do? We offer educational seminars, just like the one that you heard today. I actually contacted Nikola through LinkedIn. I know some people are very skeptical of LinkedIn. It's just like another Facebook to show off your credentials or whatever. But actually, it came in very handy for me. I contacted Nikola through that website, and he was very responsive, and I thank him for that. We also host some networking events. So sometimes we'll have a happy hour. During these happy hours, we'll go to a bar, and we'll just have a few drinks, and you can talk to each other, learn about real estate, share experiences and knowledge. We're also planning to host a cash flow board game. So cash flow is developed by a guy called Robert. I can never pronounce his last name, but he is the creator of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? And he created this board game, which is a bit like Monopoly, or if you're Korean, you might be more familiar with Blue Marble, but with financial statements. So you're tracking all of your income, all of your expenditures. So we also have these gaming days too. Sometimes we also go on real estate investing field trips. So I think last summer we went to Sokcho. We got like a minivan, and about 5 or 6 of us went to Sokcho, and we checked out a few properties in the area. One of our members is a very active investor in the Sokcho area, so he was able to show us around the properties that he had purchased, and also what he's looking for when he's evaluating the property. In Sokcho. So they were a combination of residential, mainly residential, but also commercial. Usually lower end properties. Well, I think in Sokcho in general, properties are a lot cheaper. And that's one of the reasons why this particular investor chose to invest in Sokcho, because properties are cheaper. So there's a lower barrier to entry.
And since we're on this topic, that member next month is going to be our next speaker. We'll talk about his investing strategies in Sokcho, and he's also investing in Hyundai right now.
That's right. Yeah. So I'll talk about that a little bit later. I've got a slide for that. Okay. So this is our newly redesigned website. We did have a website before, but we recently redesigned it. So it looks like this. You can see there are 2 links here. There's a link to our website with all of Dan's articles and a list of events. We've also got a link to the meetup page itself, so you can join the meetup. Okay, so this is what our homepage looks like. If you click on Visit Website, it will take you to articles about investment in Korea. This particular article is by another one of our members. I won't mention his name, but I was thinking about it. But he has basically, he bought a dilapidated property out in Damyang County, and he did it up, and now he's renting it on Airbnb, and that property was in the middle of a bamboo forest. So really interesting. We also have some articles about Sokcho, investing in Sokcho. The member that we were talking about before inspired these articles. So there are 3 parts to this series. Now, if you're more interested in US real estate, you can click on this articles button and click on US. And here we've got articles more related to the due diligence that Dan and Ben went through when they bought their property out in Jacksonville, Florida. Okay, for example, how do you get a bank loan from Korea when you're investing in the US? Okay, we also have a list of events, but these you can also see on the meetup page itself. And if you want to know a bit more about us, you can click on About. And if you want to contact us, if you've got any suggestions for the website, for our meetup, if you would like to be our next guest speaker, we're always looking for guest speakers. It's quite difficult to find. Then you can also contact us through this website too. Okay, so let's go back to here. Okay, so currently As of this morning, we have 447 members. We are growing quite quickly, and I think one big reason for that is that we're starting to focus our attention on Korean real estate, but we are still interested in US real estate, and among our members, we've got a wealth of information about investing in the US. I know there are a few people in this room who have property in the US. We also have, we're also visible on social media. As you can see, we don't have many followers, right? Because I just recently created a lot of these accounts. But I guess if there's one page you want to follow, it's the Facebook page. So if you want to get updates of articles from our website on your timeline, I recommend you like our Facebook page. Also, if you want to ask other members questions about real estate, the group is a good group to like. It's a closed group, so anything you write on there, your family members, your friends are not going to see. Okay, so if your mom is anything like my mom, then she won't be able to see it and to like it and to respond to every little message that you write. She's watching today, she's going to kill me later. So please follow us on social media too. Okay, and finally, as Ben said, we have a meetup lined up for Saturday, March 19th from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. It will also be in this venue. And we're going to talk about creative financing. And our guest speaker is Jacob Michaels. So he's the investor who has over a dozen properties out in Sokcho. And he has financed those properties, not with a traditional bank loan, but with creative financing, which basically involves using other people's money. Okay, it is possible. There is a system in Korea which allows you to do this. It's very high risk, but if you attend this meetup, Jacob will tell you about the due diligence that you need to go into to prepare reduce your downside risk. Okay. So let's bring on our...
So before that, let's thank Jean-Luc for redesigning our website and Dan Rue for creating most of the content and articles for our website. So thank you very much. And then before I forget, we also need to thank Michelle and Sarah. We're part of 10K. This business here, they provide the space for us, but mainly they provide space for tech companies. And I think you guys incubate these tech companies and stuff like that. So let's thank those guys for. And then now we've got about maybe 10 minutes. We'll get Jeff up here if you have any questions about real estate. We can do that. And then Michelle and Sarah said afterwards, if you want to stay here and talk to other people, we can definitely do that. But maximum time is 5 o'clock. Everyone has to be out of here. Okay? So, Jeff, come on up. Maybe we should turn on some lights. Anyways, you guys have any questions for Jeff? He's a real estate agent, mostly in the Itaewon area. But if you have any questions about renting or anything about real estate, go ahead and ask.
Let me just introduce myself a little bit. My name is Jeff, and I've been doing real estate for about a year and a half now. Like Ben mentioned, my office is in Itaewon. And actually, while listening to Nikola's presentation, I was very mind-blown. And at the same time, I felt very educated. And then while I was sitting there, I was thinking, shit, I'm going to be up there soon. And I feel like there's a lot of smart people here, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to educate you guys. So I want people to think of a Q&A more as like an open format for anyone who has questions. I might know the answers, I might not, we might not. Then we could always meet up at the Facebook page, and I'll probably look at the information that you guys need, and we'll just continue our conversation there. But if anyone has any kind of Q&A, which is kind of very broad if you actually think about it, just feel free to ask. And I think there was a person who asked about if you had all the money you could, which office tells you would, which location. Actually, I've been doing a little bit of research about that as well, and If I could answer that question, I would say if you're going for an office tel, you gotta know why you're going for an office tel. And for me, I don't like recommending them because one reason is you might buy it and then maybe 5 years later you'll probably sell it for almost the same price. It's been like that for a very long time. Second, this is my just personal opinion. Office tels, whenever you live in there, there's always an extra 100,000 won for maintenance fee. And I always feel like that's money I don't like spending too much. Because if I just live in a house, I don't have to pay for anything like that. I just pay for my rent, electricity, and gas, and that's about it. But there's an extra 100,000 won for cleaning the place where I don't even know if it's clean enough. But then if there was a location, I would say near university or college areas. Because you might think, but you just said it's a little expensive. I'm not, students are not the ones who are actually paying for their rent. It's actually the mothers or their parents that are paying for it. So they've got all the money that they need. They don't have to worry about anything like that. And another reason I want to recommend that is because every semester or every year there's a bunch of new kids coming into the neighborhood. But at the same time, there's a lot of people graduating and leaving at the same time. So it always flows to a way that the landlord doesn't take too much time or they don't put too much effort to look for new tenants. So that's just one thing that I kind of like wanted to mention to everyone here. So if anyone has a question, just feel free to ask me almost anything, but if I can't answer that, I'll try to look it up and yes.
So I heard from some Korean people that younger generation, they don't really want to live in these high-rise apartment complexes, and they would prefer to live in smaller villas or detached houses. Have you heard anything like that, or?
It's kind of true. I don't know if I could give you an answer to that. I think one of the main reasons is that's something to really think about. I mean, I did hear about that too. If you actually look in, like even only in the Yongsan area, there's a lot of apartments. There's also a lot of just normal residential places, but a lot of people go towards those places instead of apartments. And I think the only reason is because the apartments, there's really not much going on there, and I think the new generation is more about not just a building where you live, but what's around the surroundings and places that they could go that they feel like it's a little bit more just different than apartments. But yeah, that's the best answer I can.
I asked that because of Nikola's slide, one of them showed like the percentage of apartments versus all the other housing was like 60%. So it seems like the supply of apartments is just so many that maybe an opportunity is maybe trying to buy or develop some like detached houses or actually we saw the townhomes.
Yes, we did.
Which is very interesting for Korea. In the U.S., there's a lot of like townhomes that people can buy, but we happen to see. Well, we met a developer who developed these townhomes right by Nambu bus terminal, and I was shocked to see that this is maybe potentially a new trend for a Korean family. So it was just interesting.
Sorry, I got a question. I didn't see any detached house around Yongsan area.
If you go to HBC Hangchon or Gyeonggi, there's a lot of houses that are like that. If you like, I mean,
I live in Yongsan. I live in Yongsan.
Oh, Yongsan Station, right? That's totally different. That place is more like apartments.
Yeah.
It's really luxurious, but that area it's not that.
Which station again?
Yongsan Station. Yes.
Do you guys do or provide information on the property investment maintenance? So how's that?
Okay. So, like I said, I've only been doing this for a year and a half. So, and I'm assuming a lot of people already know this. Korean realtors are really lazy. They just sit down and wait for someone to come in, and then they'll show you the houses that are around there. That's one thing that I'm trying to do and build up for my own self, because I feel like I'm not going to be doing this for 3 to 5 years. I think I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. And I want to later on, like just how there's a meetup like this, I want to kind of like make my own, maybe like my own like meetup with Ben and Dan and Jean-Luc and provide those kinds of information in a way people would better be interested. So now I don't, but then later on I'll try to meet that.
Next year, the some apartment price is getting higher, right? So do you expect that this year apartment price?
So here's how I see it. With the fact that my office is in the Itaewon area, so I do Itaewon, Hannam, Gyeongnidan, and HBC. The apartment, so last year in January, a lot of landlords wanted to raise their rent to maybe 50 to 100,000 won more. But then what's happening this year is because the economy going really bad, they're actually lowering the rents. And a lot of landlords who used to have like big houses or like 3-bedroom houses or like 1 million per rent per month, they're actually lowering the rent right now because before there was a lot of people who would like to live together or live with a family, but just like how we saw in our presentation, a lot of people are actually living alone or not living with a big family anymore. So they prefer smaller houses than bigger ones. And a lot of new landlords that are buying buildings, if it's a 3-bedroom house, they're actually renovating it into two separate houses. They feel like they can make a little bit more money actually by doing that, and then it's going to be less empty. So I think it's going to probably be lower, not only in the Itaewon area, but I think that's happening everywhere else too, like all over the world.
I want to know how often is sold to foreign investors? Are there any legal legitimacies involved?
As I know it, I think there's also an investment visa that you need to apply for. I kind of forgot how the process goes, but I will personally, like after the meetup, I'll talk to you about that, and then I'll send you some information, which I'll definitely also share on our Facebook and other.
I can add a little bit of information to that. Yeah, you can invest in property regardless of your visa. You don't even just be on a tourist visa if you want. You don't even need a tourist visa. Anyone can buy property. I'm on an E1 visa, and I bought property down in Busan. I bought it in 2014. I sold it very recently, and there were no restrictions. I think there are a few documents that you might need to fill in, which maybe a Korean doesn't have to, but apparently it depends. It's like case by case.
So John, when you say document to fill out, is there fees attached to that? So
No,
as a foreigner, is there more fees?
not for it's very similar to Korean investors. They're not identical in some cases.
Look, we're talking more about houses or buildings or like lands or all of them. Okay.
But there is that investment visa as well. Like if you invest like 500 million in certain areas in Korea, like Jeju, and some area in Incheon, and there are a few different areas. But you can get like an F5 visa, which is like a permanent investment.
My understanding you need a job for investment visa. Cannot buy it.
So that's if you have a business.
Yeah.
You can also just buy, not just buy a property or a land.
Only in Jeju Island, not outside Jeju Island.
Because in some countries, there's also the limit in the number of years that you can hold
Correct,
property.
yes.
So like,
It's very foreigner friendly for investing here, and I think they'll continue to do that. They want foreigners to invest here in Korea, and a lot of people who invested in they haven't even been to Korea. So, anyways, I think Dan, you have one more question, and then maybe we can wrap this up.
Yeah. Hey Jeff, how you doing?
Good.
Good to hear your voice. I can't see you because you're not in front of the camera, but I just wanted to ask you this question. Before I left Korea, I had to move out of my apartment, and there was 2 days that I had to stay somewhere in Seoul before my flight. I had to move out of my apartment because I wanted to get my key money back before I left the country. So I ended up staying at an office hotel right next to Gangnam Station. It was about a 30-second walk from the station. You just walk right out of exit 1 and turn right, and boom, right there. And I ended up paying 90,000 won a night because this was on Airbnb. Now, typically, those office hotels probably rent out at about 1 million, 1.2 million a month. But then if you add in the Airbnb strategy, you're looking at maybe 3 times the yield, 2.7 million won a month if you're able to do it on a sort of a nightly basis. And the person who had purchased this office tel had a very unique strategy in that his price point was a good 40%, 30% lower than all the other office tels that were in the area. Most of the other office tels in that area were starting at 120 or 130 a night. And the result is that I looked at his bookings for the month, and it was like pretty much completely booked up. So I think his vacancy rates were very low. So I'm just wondering, have you seen people come into your office specifically to purchase an apartment because they want to use this sort of Airbnb strategy? And is this a discussion that's gone on among the real estate agents about potential laws that might be passed to sort of limit this? And what have you heard about the Airbnb strategy, basically?
There's been a lot of talk about that actually, because as you know, Itaewon is a very foreigner-friendly area.
Yeah.
And a lot of tourists, and there's a lot of guest houses there too. Not until I think last December, the Gucheon, the Yongsan district office, started looking into Airbnb and finding houses that are actually being used as the Airbnb strategy. Because eventually you have a house, but you're renting it out in a different way, and they didn't make any rules or laws or regulations about that, but now they do. And if you actually do that, you have to pay extra taxes, and then you have to also report it to the district office. If you don't, they'll give you a penalty. And I visited one landlord that actually, I'm not sure about the word, but they told them that you can't do this, and they gave them a 1 month penalty of closing the house, that not being able to use for Airbnb.
Do you know what the like? I mean, there's I'm guessing that the government is considering it a short-term rental, and that's how they're banning the use of Airbnb, because it's short-term. Do you know what the government defines as short-term? Like how many days? Like is a month considered short-term? If I decide to sublet my apartment for a month, am I, all of a sudden, am I having to do all the paperwork and everything that the government's requiring for Airbnb operators, or do you know anything about that?
Let me add something on this. So yes, Airbnb is actually illegal in Korea. It's the ones who want to do Airbnb have to gain a license in order to do this. And but just 2 days ago there was a news report in Evening News actually explaining that Seoul and the Korean government recognized actually it's good trend. It's not nothing bad. We should someone accelerate Airbnb. So they will change the laws more or less. That you I don't know the details. It's just like an Evening News. But they'll make it easier, and then they will make it legal. They will pass some new laws. So for the next few, of course, obviously passing laws takes some time, but next couple of months we'll see a whole restructuring of this kind of sharing, housing, and Airbnb system.
So the legislative environment right now is becoming a little bit more favorable to Airbnb.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it will take some time.
Interesting.
Can I say something? Actually, I own one room building. I have around 100 room building. It is Korean 생활 시설. You can use the Airbnb anytime. If you use it by private house, it needs a lot of restraint. But if you use the Korean 시설, it's very simple. So I'm very interested in Airbnb nowadays. I'm looking for the right place.
Korean 시설 is commercial purpose.
I mean, the interesting thing in terms of investors, I mean, usually commercial properties are priced based on yield. And if the yield that they're calculating on is a typical traditional renter who's paying about $1 million a month, and you're able to get 2.7, instead, then you might be able to buy it at an extreme discount to what you could be earning. So it's interesting to see or to figure out what's going to happen with all that.
All right, guys. Your time's up. Let's thank Jeff again for coming up here. Again, if you have other questions, please feel free to talk with them. Jeff's going to try to get more involved with our meetups and try to make these pretty much every meeting. So he's a great resource, as well as a lot of you guys who have your own experiences. So if you want to stay here until 5 o'clock or whatever, that's possible. But thank you for coming, and hope to see you guys again. So thank you. Dan, do you have any last minute word?
No, I mean it was a great presentation. It's good to see everyone out there. I'm out here in America. I'm focused on mobile home parks. I'm making a lot of connections. I'm running a meetup out here in LA for investors, by investors in Culver City, and so if anyone has any questions about California real estate or mobile home parks, you feel free to reach out and send me an email.
All right, Dan. I don't know how many people heard that, but we'll let them know.
Okay. It's all right.
Okay, I'll finish the call then.
Yeah.
So you're able to see everything okay, right?
Yeah, it was good.
Cool.
Yep.
All right, we'll talk to you later then.
All right, take care.
See ya.
Bye.